So I'm heading into a knife fight. And all I've got is this dildo made of American cheese. Can you see it? Maybe the camera's not picking it up very well. That's a great line from Succession, the HBO show based vaguely on the Rupert Murdoch family. Just finished season 1 and I was quite ambivalent about it first few episodes because I didn't know who to root for, and it just seemed so dark and everyone seemed so nasty and selfish and like, who's the hero here? And then luckily Kevin Michael Grace explained the show to me, so it was a dark comedy in line with The Thick of It, the British TV series, and the American show Veep, which was based on the British show, and the movie The Death of Stalin. So when I was able to situate it in those genres, and it's like, oh, okay, I understand now. The plot developments don't really matter for Succession. It's a comedy. So that helped, because when I was looking at it as a drama, that wasn't really working for me. But when I look at it as a comedy of horrible people, then I can appreciate it. So, the other day, I carelessly took some food that wasn't mine. And today, I realized what I'd done. So I immediately confessed and then tried to make restitution. And the other party said, "Oh no, it's fine, don't worry about it." But I'm an addict, and as an addict, for me, to steal is to die. Okay, so I went to the other party who was also an addict. I said, for me, to steal is to die. Here's $5. Okay, I don't want to be in the red to anyone. If I mistakenly take food that doesn't belong to me, I want to. What the hell? This guy's on a freaking scooter in the middle of freaking traffic. Also, for me to run over people on these scooters, for me to commit vehicular manslaughter is to die. Okay? So I'm really trying to cut back on the vehicular manslaughter. And when I do it, I immediately file a report with the DMV and I notify police before I wash off my car and get the dents taken care of. For me, to slaughter is to die. So I've been cutting way back on my slaughtering and on my stealing. I remember going to a Herb K seminar, and he was stressing the importance of, it was a year-long seminar on the 12 steps based on the Big Book, and he was stressing how important it was to start out with a fresh Big Book. And he said, if you don't have a copy, I'll front you a copy. Just go to the desk, write down your name. And he said the reason I can do that is because I'm talking to a room full of addicts. And with addicts, okay, to steal is to die. To lie is to die. Like, the whole basis of recovery is that you cease to be in conflict with other people and that you lead a life of integrity and that your basic instincts are no longer running the show. Okay, so if you're not working a program, your unconscious program's working you. Stuff from your genes, from your childhood, all sorts of stuff that you picked up growing up that you don't even know what's going on. Okay, that's what's running your life. Okay, as an alternative, you work a program like a 12-step program, and you let that run your life, and that you can consciously choose. And to varying degrees, you can understand, and you can get You can talk to hundreds of other people who are working the same program or a similar program. There's a big book. There's a 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book. There are abundant 12-step resources online. You can go to seminars and meetings. Okay, so in my view, it's better to work a program than to let your own subconscious, unconscious, barely conscious program work you. And I just love that idea by Herb K. when he just pointed it out there. I mean, he said, I'm talking to a room full of addicts, and for addicts, okay, to lie is to die. Like, whoa, that's intense. To steal is to die, because it starts you off on a downward spiral. Okay, it puts you in conflict with other people. They are inevitably going to retaliate. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get mad. You're going to want to get even. It's likely to increase your conflicts with others. You're not going to feel good about yourself. You're going to feel ashamed. To get out of the shame, you're going to want to act out. If you act out, you're going to feel worse about yourself. So, lying, stealing, deceiving, all these things very likely to put you into a downward spiral. And the end result of addiction is death. Addictions tend to be progressive, tending towards fatal. And if they don't kill you, they'll be content with just making you miserable. So I found through working my 12-step programs that I can pretty much glide through life. I rarely have conflicts with other people. And when I do, I can usually try to understand what was my role in this conflict. You don't usually get into conflicts with other people where you're just a 100% innocent party. You did absolutely nothing wrong. Just not really how the world works. Why did Alex Jones, for example, get deplatformed from YouTube and Facebook, Spotify? He received many warnings that he was outside the lines, the terms of service of these companies. And talked about facing off with Mueller, imitated pulling out a pistol. And social media companies increasingly don't like that kind of thing. So even if you're horrified and appalled by social media collusion to deplatform Alex Jones, you can't say Alex Jones had absolutely nothing to do with what happened to him. He was just a 100% innocent, aggrieved party. And that's just how it generally works in life. In 1994, I moved to Los Angeles and I went to a lot of different acting programs. And from 3 of them, I got asked to leave. Okay, that wasn't because I was a 100% innocent party. It was because I was obnoxious. I offended the teachers. Or my presence was just regarded as useless. And so it's like, they just didn't want me around. Don't know why the chat's not showing up on my phone. Where's the feedback? I need people to bounce these ideas off of. Like seeing that running stream of commentary. But various times I was asked to leave synagogues, and it wasn't because I was this 100% innocent party. Okay, I played a big role in my own misery. And that's how life tends to work. When other people treat us badly, it's usually because we had some kind of role. And recovery from our unconscious, addictive, destructive patterns begins with working a program and living a life of integrity, so that pretty much everything you say and do, if it was accurately reported on the front page of the New York Times, you would not feel ashamed. That's probably my primary moral code. How would I feel if what I was saying and doing showed up on the front page of the New York Times, accurately reported, pictured, videoed? And I used to lead these wildly divergent lives. I'd live one life outside the home, and one life at home, and one life in synagogue, and one life on the set in the San Fernando Valley. And I'd be afraid of people from one world running into people who knew me in another world. And I was doing all sorts of things that I didn't want my rabbi to know about. And on the other hand, when I was trying to enjoy some high quality, in full color, and high definition entertainment online, in the privacy of my own apartment, with the blinds down and the doors locked, like image of my rabbi would just come to my mind, and it'd really spoil my enjoyment of this top quality genre entertainment. So leading multiple lives at once is exhausting. It's likely to put you in a place of fear, and almost every bad thing we do comes from a place of fear. Oh, I'm going to go broke, so I need to steal from my employer, I need to steal from the clients, I need to steal from whoever I can, or I won't make my rent this month. I think that's an example of fear. So I think most every bad thing we do comes out of fear, and then when we do it, it almost always leads to dishonesty. So if you lead an honest life, upright life, full disclosure life, that tends to equal moral probity. That tends to equal righteousness. But if you're lying and deceiving and you're ripping people off and you're doing things that you don't want to be known, and you got this whole secret life, and you got all these different secret lives, and you're presenting one face in one place and then a wildly divergent and incompatible social profile in another place. It's exhausting, creates fear, likely to lead to resentment, and you just always trying to run a con on people. Always trying to, I don't know, I just spent much of my life, I would just behave, I'd just take the attitude, and I'd say the words, and I'd try to put forth the image that I thought would get me the maximum of attention. I was just so thirsty for attention that I was always like putting out different images of myself to different people in different contexts, trying to just squeeze out of them the most feedback about who I am. And then I'd wait to hear that feedback about who I am, and that's how I would know who I am, by what other people told me. And sometimes that would mean I'd put forth an image of being honest and forthright and upright, and other times I'd put forth the image of being edgy and deviant and a little bit wicked, and other times I'd put forth the image of being, this great listener and compassionate. And I was always just trying to grow towards the sun of attention, just like a houseplant grows towards the sun. I was always growing and angling and maneuvering myself towards the maximum of feedback, the maximum of attention getting. As opposed to the mature, happy people I know are pretty much the same in different facets of their life. I mean, they understand that in business it requires certain parts of their personality, and being at synagogue and socializing brings out other parts of the personality, but it still coheres, okay? The different pictures of the person, they still add up to one coherent, cohesive whole. I know people like that. And then I know people like how I used to be, just with this wildly divergent lives, living completely incompatible lives at the same time. And it's just so exhausting. I just felt like I was just running in circles, trying to get other people to believe this false image that I was putting out there about myself. And it's such a relief to let that go, okay? And come from a place of integrity, honesty, uprightness, just trying to get along as best I can with as many people as I can. And what it leads to is just this sensation of just you gliding through life. And when someone's taking advantage of you, you can speak up, and you don't stew about it anymore. You just speak up. Say, you're in my parking place. Please don't be in my parking place. Or when you play the drums at midnight, it disturbs my sleep. So I found that as I came to have more inner peace, start feeling better about myself, leading more of an upright, integrated, cohesive, coherent life, the easier it was for me to stand up for myself. But when I hated myself, and I didn't know who I was, when I was constantly putting forward these false selves to try to wrest the maximum of attention out of other people, then I had a hard time standing up for myself. I had a hard time putting boundaries and limits on other people. Kept selling myself short, and when I'd sell myself short, there was no end of takers. That's what I find in life. You undercharge, you sell yourself short, no end of people who will take advantage of that. But when I started putting things together into a coherent life of integrity, then when other people were out of integrity, and I was in a horizontal relationship with them, it's pretty easy to say, hey, please don't do X, Y, Z. I could even do it when other people had a one-up advantage, or when other people were one down. I could come from this balanced, coherent sense of self. So every day, try to stay on the 12 steps, beginning my day with a 12-step phone meeting, following it up with prayer and meditation, outreach calls. Because for me, to lie is to die, to steal is to die. Start getting into a lust spiral leads to death. Start getting into resentment and fear leads to death. If I'm self-aggrandizing, it's a downward spiral. And for the addict, these things are a matter of life and death. Like if you're an addict, you're walking around with this guillotine just over your neck, and your survival, let alone your happiness, depends upon the maintenance of your spiritual condition. So that's why it's so important that I start my days with my phone meetings, my prayer, my meditation, my outreach calls, my study of 12-step literature, journaling on these themes, having a sponsor, being accountable.